Welcome back, my kings and queens. So now this question is burning in your mind. What if they're taking my silence as a sign of weakness? What if they think they've won, that I've surrendered? You feel it, don't you? That gnawing thought that maybe, just maybe, they're sitting somewhere smug and satisfied, convinced they've broken you. They picture you crumbling in the quiet, defeated, powerless, just a forgotten figure fading into the shadows. But what if they're right? So do you want to find an answer to this question? Then hit that like button under this video and subscribe. Now imagine this: a battlefield after the war. The dust has settled, the victors parade, and the fallen are left behind. They believe you're among the defeated, scarred, beaten, forgotten. To them, your silence isn't a mystery, it's a resignation, a white flag fluttering in the wind. They think you've laid down your sword, surrendered your power, accepted your fate. And why wouldn't they? They've seen others break before. People who fell silent, who disappeared after rejection, after betrayal. To them, your silence is no different, a familiar script, a predictable ending. They assume you're pacing the floor late at night, replaying every memory, scrolling through old messages, desperate for a sign, anything that proves you still matter. They imagine you staring at your phone, suffocating under the weight of this silence. They think you're trapped in a mental prison of regret and longing, consumed by the emptiness they left behind. In their mind, your silence is nothing but a scream you're too proud or too broken to let out. And what if they're right? What if your silence really is defeat? What if they've already won and you're just another forgotten chapter in their story? A name they've erased, a face that no longer matters? This is how surrender looks, isn't it? Isn't this what giving up feels like? The stillness, the absence, the quiet acceptance of being left behind. No fight, no resistance, just nothing. They picture you exactly like that, staring blankly into the void, numbed by the loss, drowning in the memories of what used to be. The texts that never came, the calls that never rang, the moments you thought would last forever, gone. They see you as someone left defeated, forgotten, replaced. In their mind, your silence is the last breath of someone who's given up, someone too shattered to rise again. And maybe, just maybe, you feel that way too. After all, isn't this how defeat feels? Alone, silent, powerless, like a castle abandoned after the war, walls crumbling, the throne left empty, the fire long extinguished. Isn't this how surrender looks? Maybe they're right. Maybe this is exactly what giving up feels like. Or is it? What if this isn't surrender at all? What if the stillness they see is something far more dangerous, far more powerful than they could ever imagine? Because while they're busy celebrating their supposed victory, you've been rebuilding in the shadows, silently, relentlessly, brick by brick, flame by flame, like a phoenix burned to ashes, only to rise stronger, like a winter forest lying silent, until spring sets it ablaze with life once more. They can't see it, they won't see it, until it's too late, because true power never announces its return. The storm never sends a warning before it strikes. The tide doesn't ask permission to reclaim the shore. And your silence isn't surrender. It's the stillness before something unstoppable. Yes, it looks like surrender. It feels like defeat. To them, it's already over. They've written the ending in their mind, a story where you were broken, lost, and forgotten. But here's the truth they'll never see coming. It doesn't matter what it looks like. The only thing that matters is how you rise. Let them believe they've won. Let them bask in their illusion of victory, convinced you've been silenced, erased, reduced to nothing. Because appearance means nothing when your power is growing beneath the surface. Do you think the seed cares when it's buried beneath the earth? Do you think the ocean hesitates before sending the next wave? Your silence isn't a retreat, it's a reset. A pause before the comeback they'll never expect. They see stillness, but you feel the shift. They hear nothing, but you sense the storm building deep within. Because rising doesn't need an audience. You don't rise to make them notice. You don't rise to prove them wrong. You rise because it's in your nature. Because surrender was never your final act. The world's most powerful forces don't announce themselves. The wind doesn't declare its arrival, and the fire doesn't apologize when it consumes everything in its path. So let them think what they want. Let them believe you've been defeated. Because when you rise, and you will rise, it won't be for them. It won't be out of revenge or anger or some desperate need for validation. It will be because you were always meant to, and by the time they realize it, you'll be too far ahead, too unstoppable, too untouchable. They'll be stuck in the past, clinging to a story that no longer exists, while you've written an entirely new one where you are the only author. So let the silence stretch. Let them sit in their comfort, believing you're gone. Because what comes next isn't for them, it's for you. And drop this affirmation in the comments. I rise unstoppable. Say it, feel it. Let those words ignite something fierce within you, something no one can touch, control, or break. Drop it in the comments. Declare it like a king or queen reclaiming their throne. Make it known. You're not hiding. You're not asking. You're rising. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So let this be the thought that defines you, the fire that pushes you forward. Type it now. Say it louder. Believe it. I rise unstoppable. And that is how true power rises. Let's begin. Number 1. Kill the thoughts of weakness. They told you that silence means surrender, that stillness proves you've lost, that because you're not reacting, you've already accepted defeat. But let's get one thing clear. Weakness isn't what they think it is. Weakness isn't being left behind. It isn't rejection, failure, or even loss. Weakness is the belief that those things define you. The truth is, weakness doesn't start with failure. It starts with a thought. Before anyone underestimates you, you underestimate yourself. Every time you think, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I've failed, maybe they were right, that thought burrows into your mind like a parasite, silent, consuming, waiting for its moment to grow. Weakness is born in silence, but not the kind they see. It's the internal silence, the quiet agreements you make with your doubts, the whispered lies your mind tells you when no one's looking. You're not enough. You'll never rise again. They've already won. And every time you let those thoughts echo, you give them power. You hand over control. You plant seeds of failure in the garden of your potential. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. Weakness isn't real until you believe in it. Imagine a fortress standing tall, impenetrable. From the outside, it seems indestructible, but deep within, hidden cracks begin to form. Small, invisible, harmless at first. But when a storm comes, those cracks are the only thing that matters. Your mind is that fortress. Your doubts are the cracks. The storm? Life. So ask yourself, are you going to let those cracks break you? Or are you going to seal them before it's too late? When that voice of doubt whispers, you can't, don't argue, you act. Action is the enemy of hesitation. One move, one step forward, one bold decision destroys uncertainty before it has time to grow. Weakness feeds on old stories, the failures, the rejections, the things you didn't get right. But what if you rewrote that story? What if you told yourself, I wasn't rejected, I was redirected. I didn't lose, I learned. I wasn't broken, I was being rebuilt. Weakness thrives on attention. Every moment you spend dwelling on what could have been is fuel for its fire. Take back that energy. Use it to build something new. Feed your future, not your fears. Be brutal with your thoughts. Don't entertain pity, self-doubt, or regret. When those thoughts appear, shut them down without negotiation. A ruler doesn't debate with traitors, they remove them. Picture a wildfire spreading through a dark forest, unstoppable, relentless. But the fire didn't start with the flames. It started with a single spark. Your thoughts are sparks. Left unchecked, one negative thought can ignite an inferno of fear, doubt, and insecurity. But if you crush that spark the moment it appears, the fire never burns. The most dangerous enemy you'll ever face is not the one who left, the one who hurt you, or the one who underestimated you. The most dangerous enemy is your own mind, if you let it go unchecked. So, what will you choose? To stay trapped in the prison of your thoughts, or to rise as the ruler of your mind? Kill the thoughts of weakness. Seal the cracks. Burn the doubt. Rise unshaken, and affirm with me right now, I am unbreakable. Say it. Feel the weight of those words. Let them sink into your soul. You are not the thoughts that try to break you. You are not the doubts that whisper in the dark. You are the storm that rises after the fall, the force they never saw coming. Say it again, louder this time. I am unbreakable. This is your truth. No matter what they think, no matter what they say, no matter what life throws at you. You were never meant to stay down. You were never meant to surrender. You were meant to rise, stronger, wiser, untouchable. So, claim it, own it, be it. I am unbreakable. Number 2, master your thoughts and emotions. So if they're thinking your silence is your weakness, let them assume you've been defeated. Let them believe you're stuck, lost, drowning in your own emotions. That's what they want to believe, because it makes them feel powerful, in control. They expect you to be consumed by anger, trapped by regret, crippled by sadness. But what they don't understand is this: real power isn't in reacting, it's in mastering yourself, your thoughts, your emotions. They're the real battlefield. They are where every victory is won or lost. They are the place where most people fall, not because life is too hard, but because they never learned how to control what happens inside when everything outside goes wrong. Most people live as prisoners of their emotions, chained to feelings they don't understand and can't escape. Anger, jealousy, sadness. These emotions take over like invaders, controlling every action, every word, every decision. They react, they lash out, they crumble. And the worst part? They never even realized that the war wasn't out there. It was within. But you're different. You can be different. You can learn to master your mind, to rule your emotions, to turn silence into strength. Not because of what happens to you, but because of how you choose to respond. When they ghost you, when they reject you, when life turns its back on you, what do? Do you fall apart, surrendering to every wave of emotion? Or do you stand still, calm, unshaken, Mastering the storm inside before it destroys everything in its path? Remember this. The mind is a fortress. Guard it. You can't stop emotions from entering your mind. Fear will knock, doubt will whisper, anger will try to kick down the door. But you decide who gets to stay. You decide what lives there. You decide what shapes your reality. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Let that sink in. You don't control what others say, think, or do. You can't stop life from hitting you with storms you didn't see coming. But you can control how you think about it. You can choose what meaning you give to every experience. That's the power they'll never understand. When they expect anger, give them indifference. When they expect desperation, give them silence. When they expect weakness, show them nothing. Not because you're cold or broken, but because you've mastered yourself. Mastering your thoughts doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means acknowledging your emotions without becoming them. It means feeling the sadness, but not letting it consume you. It means recognizing the anger, but refusing to let it control your actions. It means standing in the fire without letting it burn you alive. Think about it like this. Emotions are visitors, not permanent residents. They come, they stay for a while, and they leave. But only if you let them. If you cling to them, if you feed them, they'll build a home in your mind and refuse to leave. So the next time anger flares up, don't fight it. Observe it. The next time fear creeps in, don't run from it. Face it. The next time sadness threatens to drown you, don't resist. Feel it and let it pass. Because the moment you stop letting emotions drive your actions, you become untouchable. Picture this: a raging river after a storm. The current is wild, chaotic, destructive. Most people are like leaves caught in that current, tossed, thrown, helpless. But imagine standing still, unmoved, rooted like a rock beneath the surface. The river rages around you, but you remain untouched. That's emotional mastery. They expect you to lash out when they hurt you. They expect you to fall apart when they leave. They expect you to react. But the moment you stop reacting, you win. The moment you control your emotions instead of being controlled by them, you become something they can't figure out, something they can't manipulate, something they can't break. They thought your silence meant you were drowning, but it only means you're rising. They thought your stillness meant defeat, but it only means you're untouchable. Mastering your thoughts and emotions isn't about being numb. It's about being powerful. It's about responding with intent instead of reacting with impulse. It's about feeling everything but being controlled by nothing. So when life hits you, when people try to push you down, when the world expects you to break, don't. Stand still. Stand strong. Feel it all, but let nothing control you. They can't touch what they can't break, and they can't break what's already mastered itself. And affirm with me right now, I master my mind. Say it. Let those words anchor deep within you. Feel the power behind them. You are not your emotions. You are the one who commands them. You don't run from fear. You face it. You don't drown in sadness. You rise through it. You don't surrender to anger. You control it. You're not a victim of what happens around you. You're the ruler of what happens within you. Say it again, with conviction. I master my mind. This isn't just a statement. It's a command, a decision, a declaration that from this moment forward, nothing has power over you unless you allow it. You are the storm. You are the calm after it. And you are the force they can't control. I master my mind. Number 3. Learn to use this silence. So, my kings and queens, this is where most people give up. This is where they break, where they let the silence consume them, where they surrender to the emptiness left behind. They let the quiet convince them that it's over, that they've been forgotten, discarded, erased. But you're not like them. They think your silence means defeat, but that's because they don't understand the power hidden in stillness. They can't see that silence isn't the end. It's the beginning of something they'll never be ready for. Silence isn't where you lose, it's where you transform. Silence is a weapon, if you learn how to use it. You see, most people are terrified of silence because it forces them to face themselves. They crave noise, attention, validation, anything to drown out the reality they're too weak to confront. But not you. You've learned that silence isn't emptiness, it's space. Space to rebuild, space to grow, space to become something unstoppable. Picture a seed buried deep underground. There's no light, no applause, no recognition, just darkness. But that seed doesn't stop growing because no one's watching. It doesn't quit because no one's cheering it on. In silence, it rises, slowly, relentlessly, until one day it breaks through the surface, stronger than anything that ever doubted it could survive. That's you. You've been buried, abandoned, left in the dark. They thought your silence meant you were done, but you were just getting started. You were preparing, strengthening, becoming something they'll never see coming. When they walked away, when they stopped calling, when they dismissed you like you didn't matter, they thought they'd written the final chapter of your story. But what they didn't know is that you're the one holding the pen. And now, you're writing something legendary. So use this silence. Don't waste it drowning in memories or chasing after people who don't deserve your energy. Use it to rebuild yourself from the ground up. Use it to sharpen your mind, strengthen your heart, and fuel your fire. Use it to become the version of yourself they never believed you could be, the one even you doubted for a while. Let the silence be your forge, where every broken piece of you is melted down and reforged into something indestructible. Let it shape you into someone so strong, so resilient, that when they finally notice your absence, it's too late to ever touch you again. They expected you to beg for attention, but instead, you vanished into the shadows. They expected you to fall apart, but you became untouchable in the stillness. They thought your silence was weakness, but it was power in disguise. So stop fearing the quiet. Stop thinking you need to be seen to matter. Stop needing validation from anyone but yourself. You don't need noise. You need progress. You don't need their approval. You need your own. You don't need to prove them wrong. You need to prove yourself right. Because when the time comes, when you finally step back into the light, you won't be the same person they walked away from. You'll be someone unstoppable. And affirm with me right now, I rise in silence. Say it. Feel the power behind those words. Let them echo through every part of you. Your silence isn't emptiness. It's your greatest strength. You don't beg for attention. You build in the shadows. You don't chase what's gone. You create what's next. You don't crumble in the quiet. You rise through it. Say it again, louder this time. I rise in silence. Let them wonder where you went. Let them question what's coming next. Let them feel the absence they once ignored. This silence isn't surrender. It's your rebirth. I rise in silence. Number 4. Redefine the void. So, my kings and queens, let's talk about the void, the emptiness they left behind. The hollow space that echoes with memories, regrets, and what-ifs. That dark, silent place where you feel forgotten, abandoned, replaced. They walked away and now you're left staring into nothing. And I know, it feels like the end. Like the void will swallow you whole. Like the emptiness will last forever. But what if it's not a curse? What if the void isn't your prison, but your starting point? You see, most people fear the void because it forces them to confront themselves. No distractions, no fake smiles, no comforting lies. Just you, and everything you tried to avoid. But what if, instead of fearing that emptiness, you claimed it? The void is the most powerful place you'll ever be, not because it feels good, but because it's limitless. It's a blank canvas, yours to redefine. They think leaving created a void in your life, something broken and empty. But what they don't realize is that they never filled it to begin with. Their absence didn't create the void, it revealed it. You were already meant for something greater, something so vast that they could never fill it. They were just passing through, a fleeting moment in your story. And now, the space they left is yours to reshape, on your terms. Picture this, a shattered mirror on the ground. It reflects broken pieces, fractured images, chaos. But what if those shattered pieces weren't the end of the story? What if you picked up every broken shard and used them to build something new? That's what the void is. Potential disguised as loss. It's where you become who you were always meant to be, without them. It's where your future starts, not with what you lost, but with what you're about to create. Stop seeing the void as something to escape from. Stop trying to fill it with distractions, people, or meaningless noise. You don't need to fix the emptiness. They were never the solution in the first place. Instead, own it. Build within it. Create something so powerful that even the memory of who you were can't touch you. Let the silence be your workshop, the void your foundation, and the emptiness your fuel. This isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of something they'll never be able to comprehend. They thought leaving would break you, but all they did was set you free. So stop fearing the void. Stop running from the silence. Stand still. Face it and claim it, because by the time they realize the void didn't destroy you, you'll be unstoppable. And affirm with me right now, I create from the void. Say it. Let it sink in. You're not defined by what you lost. You're defined by what you build. I create from the void. Number 5. Rise without permission. So, my kings and queens, at first, you were waiting for an apology, waiting for closure, waiting for someone to acknowledge your worth, to fix what they broke, to return what they took. You thought maybe, just maybe, if you waited long enough they'd realize what they lost, that they'd come back, explain themselves, make things right. But here's the hard truth. You were never meant to wait. Rulers don't wait. Legends aren't made by permission. You were born to rise, with or without them. The greatest mistake you ever made was thinking you needed someone's validation to move forward. You don't need their approval, their apology, or their recognition. You don't need them to get it or understand what they threw away. You don't need permission to be who you were always meant to be. Think about the sun. Does it wait for permission to rise? Does it check to see if the world is ready before it breaks the horizon with unstoppable light? It rises because it was born to. The river doesn't ask for approval before carving through stone. The lion doesn't check for permission before unleashing its roar. The phoenix doesn't wait for acceptance before rising from the ashes. Nature doesn't wait, and neither should you. Stop waiting. Start rising. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." So what color is your soul right now? Faded, from waiting for people who were never worthy of you. Dim, from chasing validation from those who never cared. Dull, from hoping someone else would hand you what you were meant to take on your own. The truth is, they're never going to give you what you deserve. They're too small to see your worth, too blind to recognize what's standing right in front of them. But their blindness doesn't define you. Their rejection doesn't diminish your value. They don't decide when you rise. You do. The only thing holding you back is you. You've been sitting at the edge of your potential, waiting for a sign, waiting for permission. But let me make it clear, you are the sign. You are the permission. You are the moment you've been waiting for. Now imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, staring into the unknown. The wind howls, the ground trembles, and every voice inside you says, "Wait, stop. It's too dangerous." But what if you jumped anyway? Not because it's safe, not because you're ready, but because you know you were never meant to stand still. That's what rising without permission looks like. It's taking the leap without waiting for anyone's approval. It's deciding, I'm done waiting. I'm done explaining. I'm done asking. They can keep their apologies. They can keep their closure. They can keep their half-hearted explanations and empty words. You don't need any of it. You don't need them. You never did. So, what are you waiting for? The past is gone. The future is unwritten. The only thing standing between who you are and who you're meant to be is the decision to rise. And affirm with me right now, I rise without permission. Say it. Let those words break every chain holding you back. Let them burn through every excuse, every doubt, every fear. I rise without permission. No waiting, no explaining, no asking, just rising. I rise without permission. Number 6. When they see you rising. So here you are, my kings and queens, ruling your kingdom, standing taller than ever, and becoming exactly what they thought you could never be. They see you now, but not the way they once did. They see someone transformed, someone untouchable, someone they can't figure out anymore. You've become a mystery they can't solve, a presence they can't escape, a force they can't ignore. They thought walking away would leave you broken, but all it did was set you free. They expected silence to be your downfall, but instead it became your greatest weapon. And now they see you rising. They see the fire in your eyes, the one they thought they'd extinguished. They see the strength in your voice, the one they tried to silence. They see the way you move now, with purpose, with power, with certainty. You're not the same. You've rebuilt yourself in ways they never thought possible, and that scares them. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. You were supposed to stay down. You were supposed to crumble under the weight of the void they left behind. They expected you to drown in the emptiness, but instead you turned it into fuel. They thought your silence meant you'd disappeared, but now they realize you were just preparing. And now, it's too late. Because while they were busy forgetting you, you were busy becoming unforgettable. Why do they see you now? Because your absence made them notice what they took for granted. Your stillness made them question what they'd lost. Your silence made them realize they were never the source of your power. You were. You see, most people don't notice value until it's gone. They don't recognize greatness when it's standing right in front of them, but they feel it when it's missing. They feel it now. And it's not because you begged for their attention. It's not because you chased, explained, or pleaded. It's because you disappeared. You pulled back everything they thought they'd have forever. Your energy, your kindness, your presence, your power. Now, they're left wondering, questioning, regretting. But you've already moved on. They're stuck in a memory. You're living in reality. As Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Your why was never about making them see your worth. It was about becoming so powerful that their recognition became irrelevant. They expected you to come crawling back. They expected your silence to be temporary, a tactic to win their attention. But now, they realize you were never playing a game. You were playing for your life, and you won. Now, they see you, but they can't reach you. They feel your power, but they can't control it. They remember who you used to be, but they can't touch who you've become. Why do they see you now? Because you stopped needing them to. And affirm with me right now, I rise beyond reach. Say it. Feel the weight of those words. Let them anchor you in your strength. You are beyond what they can understand. You are beyond what they can control. You are beyond what they can touch. Say it again, stronger this time. I rise beyond reach. Number 7, the choice of a ruler. They were there, thinking your silence was a weakness, believing they had won, thinking you were crushed, defeated, gone. They mistook your stillness for surrender, your quiet for defeat. But here's what they failed to realize. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. While they celebrated a victory that never existed, you were making the most powerful move of all. You were choosing not to react, choosing not to chase, choosing not to explain or justify your worth to people too blind to see it. That's the difference between a ruler and everyone else. You are my kings and queens. You are the rulers of your life. A ruler doesn't react out of desperation. They don't plead, beg, or lower themselves for approval. They act with purpose, with certainty, and with power. They don't rush to prove their value because they already know it. They don't chase what's lost because they're too busy building what's next. They rise without permission. While they were out there seeking validation, playing petty games, and chasing attention, you were building in silence. You were planning moves they could never anticipate. You weren't just reacting, you were leading. They thought your stillness was surrender, but it was strategy. They thought your silence was defeat, but it was discipline. Because a ruler never acts from weakness, they act from strength. And when you didn't react, when you didn't explain, when you didn't fall apart like they expected, you shattered their illusion of control. They were ready for drama, for tears, for a desperate attempt to win them back. But instead, you gave them nothing. No explanations, no apologies, no breadcrumbs to follow. You became a mystery they can't figure out, a force they can't control, a ruler they can't reach. Because power isn't about what you say, it's about what you choose not to say. The truth is, the most powerful decision you ever made was the one they never saw coming, the decision to stop seeking and start becoming. You chose yourself. You chose to stop asking for answers you didn't need. You chose to stop waiting for closure you could create on your own. You chose to rise, not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You realized that power. You claimed it. You became untouchable. And now, they see it. They feel it. They know. But it's too late. You've already moved on, already risen beyond what they could ever comprehend. While they stayed stuck in the past, you built the future. While they waited for you to crumble, you built an empire. They thought they made the final decision when they walked away, but the only decision that ever mattered was yours. And affirm with me right now, I choose my power. Say it, feel it in your bones, let it anchor your soul. You are not what they left behind. You are what rises from it. Say it again, stronger this time. I choose my power. Number 8. Living their dream life. They were thinking that you'd never recover, that you'd be stuck in the shadows, trapped in the memories of what could have been. They imagined you scrolling through old messages, replaying conversations, hoping for some sign that they cared. In their minds, you were supposed to be broken, defeated, forgotten. But now, the tables have turned. While they were busy living their so-called best life, flashing their fake smiles and posting for attention, you were working, you were building, you were transforming. You weren't chasing after them, begging for closure or drowning in regret. You were crafting a life they could only dream of, your dream life. And now, they see it. They see your glow. They see your rise. They hear whispers about your success. They notice how your energy has changed, how you walk with confidence, how your presence commands attention, even in silence. And here's the twist they never saw coming. You've become everything they pretended to be. They played the game of appearances while you were building reality. They were busy creating illusions while you were crafting a legacy. They chased temporary thrills while you built something permanent. Now, you are living the life they once dreamed of, the life they thought they'd have while you were supposed to be stuck, waiting, forgotten. But you didn't just move on, you leveled up. While they sought validation from strangers online, you built real confidence. While they were chasing temporary highs, you created lasting success. They were desperate to be noticed, and now they can't stop noticing you. They scroll through your life now, watching, analyzing, wondering how you did it. But they'll never understand. They'll never comprehend the fire that comes from being underestimated, the hunger that ignites when someone counts you out. You see, they needed attention to survive. But you became unstoppable in the dark. While they were busy seeking approval, you became undeniable. Now they see it, and it burns them. They thought they left you behind, but now they're the ones stuck in the past. While you're living a life of purpose, fulfillment, and unstoppable progress, they're still chasing the same empty highs, playing the same shallow games, trapped in the same toxic cycles. They thought they were ahead, but now they're left watching your success from the sidelines, powerless, speechless, forgotten. And the best part? You didn't rise to get back at them. You didn't build your empire out of revenge or bitterness. You built it because you were always meant to. You were always destined for more, with or without them. They were never the reason for your success. You were. Marcus Aurelius said it best. The best revenge is to be unlike the one who wronged you. You don't need to block them, hide from them, or even acknowledge them. Your existence alone is louder than anything you could ever say. They see you, and they feel what they lost. Not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you've become impossible to ignore. Now, they sit there, haunted by the life they could have shared. If only they'd seen your worth when they had the chance. But life doesn't wait for those who hesitate. You didn't wait. You rose. You built. You became something they can never touch. And now, they're living in the shadows of your success. They thought they'd see you broken, but instead, they see you thriving. They thought you'd be begging to come back, but now they wish they could be part of your world again. But that door, it's closed. sealed, gone, because you outgrew the version of yourself that ever needed them. And affirm with me right now, I live my dream life. Say it. Let it resonate in every fiber of your being. You're no longer chasing, you're living. You're no longer hoping, you're creating. You're no longer watching from the sidelines. You are the main event. Say it again, stronger this time. I live my dream life.